Do you feel like men are just a bunch of horny bastards? I mean, this is the complaint I hear from women, that men just want sex and they try so fast to get you into bed. What the hell is their problem? I don't understand. Well, I'm going to help you understand. Now listen, you may not like this explanation, and this is not to validate anything. This is to help you see clearly why some men are moving so fast sexually. And again, I'm not saying they should, but one of the reasons why they do is because he doesn't want to get played. Now, I know that might have caught you off guard, but let me explain here. The reality is that for a lot of men, they've gone on dates and women have used them for free meals, for free entertainment, all right? She was just bored, so she took the date. And despite a lot of women, other women wanting to believe that, well, this type of stuff doesn't happen, it does, it happens all the time. A lot of women do not understand how many men have been burned in this situation. Now, some of you might be saying, well, what the hell's that got to do with sex? Well, here's the thing. For the man to know that this woman is actually serious about him, one of those ways or measuring sticks is by her willingness to be intimate with him. Because what other investment is she making that is equivalent to his investment that allows him to believe she's at least seriously or genuinely interested or attracted to this man? Now, again, I know some of you are saying, how the hell is sex an equivalent investment? Let me explain. I am not saying pound for pound, and just so I'm clear, his investment is money, okay? Because you're both giving time. He's giving his time to be there, you're giving your time to be there. So now what is the separating factor? He ends up in most cases spending money, all right? Which is why, let me just throw this in there, you have some men who will argue that the woman should pay her half on the first date. Why? Because he wants to know you're mutually invested. If you do that, that is another way some men are able to say, okay, she's just not here to use me and play me. But if you're not paying your own way, sex becomes the next thing, all right? Or for some men, the preferred, the preferred thing to use as an investment, because even though, again, I'm not saying it's equal pound for pound, it is equal in the sense of what each sex values, what each side values, in the sense that when a man goes on a date and he finds out, he spends money on a woman and it goes nowhere, it's very easy for him to feel used and disappointed and hurt because of how she used him for money. It's not even, oh man, I took an hour out my day to be there. A lot of times it's if he spent a lot of money on her, that can be what hurts him and makes him feel used. For women, a lot of times it could be you slept with him, nothing came out of it, and now that's what made you feel used. So again, I want to make clear, I'm not saying they're actually equal pound for pound. I know I keep repeating that, but what I am saying is that what is important to that man and viewed as his investment is the money. He's viewing your willingness to be intimate with him as a counter investment, so to speak. And so a quick story I want to give is there was a guy who went out, actually, matter of fact, it's from a TV show. So I was watching Family Guy. There's an episode of Family Guy, all right? And for those of you who don't know, one of the characters is a dog named Brian, all right? And Brian goes on a date with this woman. Now, please don't hold me to the fact a dog is dating a woman. It's a cartoon, all right? Just work with me here. If you've seen the cartoon, you get it. But Brian goes on a date with this woman. He really likes the woman, right? And another character, Stewie, tells Brian, you know, how about you don't try to have sex with her so fast? Like, you always move too fast with these women. Take your time. So Brian takes his time. He doesn't make a move. He waits several days, doesn't make a move. By date whatever, he's coming home one day and passes by a car, and the girl that he was going to date with is having sex with another character on the show named Cleveland. Okay, so, And he's like, what the hell? You know, I was trying to respect you. I was trying to be patient. And what did she say? Well, I thought you weren't interested. You never made a move. Which is another fear some men have, that some men have faced, that not making a move, not at least even making an attempt, can sometimes be viewed as he's not actually interested like that. And again, for some of you ladies, you may say that's ridiculous, but I'm telling you, I have heard it, I have seen it. Men going through situations where the woman said, well, not only will they question how serious this man is or how genuinely interested he is, they'll even question his sexuality when he doesn't make a move. So there's a lot of things confusing or getting in the heads of some of these men that cause them to feel like, okay, I've got to try something as early as possible to establish, one, that, you know, I'm a man and only to question his sexuality, that, you know, to not mistake that he's not genuinely interested and romantically interested specifically in the woman. But again, to also see is her willingness to engage an affirmation to him that, okay, she is genuinely interested in me. Because you can say the words, talking on the phone doesn't do it for him. You know, and again, other than spending money yourself, sex becomes that thing. So I kind of rambled on, but I hope you get the point. And I want to say one more time, I'm not excusing it, validating it, saying it's the right way. I'm explaining one of the reasons why men try to have sex so soon. But then to piggyback off of that, another reason why he tries to have sex so soon is because he doesn't want to get friend-zoned. So again, kind of going off the story of Brian and Family Guy, all right? And the fact that some men have had their sexuality questioned. Some men have been told, well, they thought, you know, he wasn't interested. And then only to go see this same woman or not see, but find out she went and had sex with somebody else. All right? And he ends up in the friend zone. And so now, of course, we can make the argument that if she was going to put him in the friend zone, that's where he was going to go regardless of whether he tried to have sex or not. But again, if he doesn't men have seen that not making the move can sometimes send the wrong signal. And he does not want to end up in that place, all right? Now, some people don't believe in the friend zone, but it exists. And it's just as simply, if you don't understand the whole dynamic, it's just this, it's simply putting that man in the box of, I don't want to do anything romantic with him. We're just friends, all right? But he's romantically interested. So he doesn't want to be put in that box. He doesn't want to remain in that box. That fear can cause a man to want to move too fast, okay? And I've even seen another example. This was a real life situation where a man who actually was someone who you could say was a hoe. Like this dude, he ran the streets, all right? He was all over the place. And then one day, we linked up and he was like, man, I think I met the one. And I was like, you serious? Like, yeah, man, she's amazing. We talked for hours. Like they met that day, they ended up talking for hours. He was really into her. And he said, out of, you know, his own mouth and out of his own desire, I'm gonna really take my time with this one. I'm not even gonna try to have sex with her. I really want to make sure she understands I'm serious, right? So he does that. He takes his time, he doesn't make the move, all that stuff. I want to say a month into dating, getting to know each other, whatever you want to call it, what happens? This woman gets with another guy. He was devastated. He was hurt. And what was the reason she gave him? I didn't know that you were interested like that. Again, his unwillingness to make a move sexually allowed her to believe, and again, some people may make the argument, well, maybe that's just an excuse or whatever. Either way, when men are hearing that their lack of making a move allowed this woman to interpret them as not actually being interested, and the end result is her getting with someone else, her sleeping with someone else, whatever, it makes those men feel like, okay, to avoid this, I have to try something sooner. I cannot be as patient with having sex. it's an unfortunate and unhealthy perspective, but it is a reality that happens to a lot of guys. So this is another reason why some men move very fast. Now, a third reason, I wasn't really going with the numbers, but a third reason why men try to have sex too soon is sometimes they misread your signals. Now, I want to say signals in quotation marks because they may not have, your intention may not have been to throw them a signal of any kind. But they misinterpreted your behavior as a signal, as a green light to try something, okay? So example, I know of another story where a man was cool with a girl, all right? And so they weren't necessarily dating. They were just cool. And, but it wasn't cool like there was an established friendship. It was like, hey, you know, they see each other, it's all good, but whatever. And I think they may have flirted before, that's it. But one day, the guy, she was a mutual friend of his roommate. He invites the girl over, okay? While the roommate wasn't there. The girl comes. Now, in her mind, it may have just been an innocent, hey, I'm just coming over, it's all good, we're all friends in her head, right? But to him, signal one, you came over when it's just me at the house. Okay? Signal two, again, in his head, he invites her to go watch TV in his room and sit on his bed. She agrees. Okay? So again, to him, this is a signal that you are open for him trying something. And I want to make clear, not saying he thought, you know, he can force himself on her or whatever. But he thought he was being given the green light to try and to possibly for her to be willing to proceed in having sexual relations. So she goes in the bed with the man, right? And watching TV. And now he starts to, you know, try to rub his hand on her leg or, you know what I'm saying? Blowing her ear. I don't know if he actually blew her ear, but, you know, he's doing his little thing, right? And now here it gets tricky. She kind of is like, chill out or whatever. And I don't know if it was chill out because I heard two different stories, I'm going to be honest with you. But from what I gather, she was hesitant. But even in her hesitancy, she didn't flat out shut it down. She didn't walk away. Now, listen, as I've grown in life, I've heard a lot of stories of women not knowing how to respond and react in those situations, okay? And that can then lead to, again, misinterpreted behavior and reading the quote-unquote signal wrong. But to that guy, and these were, they were young at this time, not to make it an excuse, but it's a reality. To him, it's still, okay, well, she's not leaving the room. She's not getting out of the bed. She must be cool. Now, he still makes his attempts. Eventually, she finally, gets out of the bed and decides to leave the house. Okay? And now he wasn't upset. It was like, okay, well, he tried. She ultimately wasn't down. He thought there was an opportunity, left it at that. But she was furious. She was furious and was like, how could he try this? Why would he think that? And going back to my initial point, when women say, well, why are these men trying so fast? Sometimes it becomes a matter of misinterpreted behavior. And what I'm seeing in society is a huge disconnect between a lot of men and women. Some women are going to hear this story or are hearing this story and be like, oh, hell yeah, I'm thinking she was down too. Other women are going to be like, well, just because she did all that doesn't mean he has a right to try. So it's divided even amongst women, okay? But it's confusing as hell to a lot of men. And so now, this disconnect creates these dynamics where, yes, a lot of men attempt to make a sexual move because they genuinely think the woman is giving them the green light, all right? Now, again, I want to make clear, no means no, and no man should be forcing himself upon a woman or anything like that, all right? But we do have to understand that what we're talking about is men making an attempt, but, again, he took the decline. He didn't push any further with the decline. But this is what happens in a lot of situations. So to bottom line, wrap this point up, this is one of the things that leads to it. And so I do think to at least decrease the chances of misinterpreted behavior, misinterpreted signals, we got to be aware of some things that can give the wrong idea. I think most of us can agree, listen, you go into a man's bedroom, that's going to send the wrong signal in most cases. All right. And here's the thing. I feel the need to say this. Even if you say to a man, hey, like you can walk into a man's bedroom and say, I hope you know we ain't having sex. And in his head, he's thinking, yeah, whatever, you full of it. Like you're just saying that. And to you, that's crazy. Why would he think that? But he thinks that because a lot of men have been in this predicament where the woman said that and she was kind of just being playfully resistant, but she actually was down for it. Genuinely, all right? We're talking about genuine situations. So again, it creates a lot of confusion. But bottom line is like, we do have to be mindful of, this is why I'm a firm believer in, if we're trying not to have sexual relations, daytime dates, you know what I'm saying? Intimacy, if we're gonna have kissing at home late at night, I'm not saying, there's plenty of men who won't even try even if that happens, but it can get a little risky or it can get tricky at that point. So I think creating good, strong boundaries that make it very clear we're not doing that or you're not down with that helps decrease it. Of course, there's nothing that guarantees that somebody out there won't try something because, different people for different reasons are gonna make their attempts. But there are things that can help decrease the chances of having that misunderstanding in those situations where, again, it's just an attempt, but it's an attempt not in a way to force themselves. I really want to make that clear because I don't want people taking this the wrong way in any kind of way. All right, so now let's move along to the next reason why men try to have sex too soon. Is sometimes the attraction is just too damn strong. and again, I'm not saying that to make it okay, but I think even as a woman, some of you can relate to that. Some of you can relate to where there have been situations where you genuinely went into it not trying to focus or worry about sex or make it about sex, and really trying to just get to know someone and that's it, And in your head may have told yourself, yo, we're not having sex till months later, weeks later, whatever. But then you guys get into the presence of each other and it's just clicking. And I don't want to call it sexual chemistry. I think people mislabel those situations by calling it chemistry because chemistry is when things can flow together, they go well together, so to speak. And you guys to have sexual chemistry, you got to have sex. You know what I'm saying? So what you're feeling in that moment isn't, in my perception of things, not sexual chemistry. It is simply high level of traction and horniness. All right, like that's what it is. Y'all both horny right now. You're both really attracted to each other. So it feels like this chemistry because we're really clicking right now, but actual sexual chemistry would involve actual sex. But anyways, I digress. The point here is that high level of attraction can get people caught up, can get men to jump ahead of themselves. And again, it is not always, it's not simply a sign of him trying to just devalue you as just someone to have sex with. I mean, sometimes it can be that. But there are situations that exist like that. So, that's something that we can't really control. Sometimes it's just there. There's a strong sexual attraction and strong sexual energy with people. But, we understand that can lead to it. And this is where, again, once we sense that high level of sexual attraction between us, and you don't want it to go there, we need to have that discussion. Like I always say, you don't have to announce being abstinent or announce how long you're gonna wait until it's in a natural flow of conversation. But I do think that when both of you are recognizing this high level of sexual attraction and you can see that this can easily go in that direction very fast, then it's like, okay, you might want to just go ahead and bring it up. Like, you know what, hey, and acknowledge it for what it is. There's a lot of attraction here, but I really want us to wait. And then also, in addition to having that conversation, creating those healthy boundaries to help you guys not fall into that. All right, so now I got another reason why men will try to have sex too soon. But before I mention that one, real quick, so many women ask me about my coaching, and I have a special coaching program offer for you. Take advantage today to join my program. It's go to receivingmyblessings.com. I'm opening some spots up. You're gonna learn about healing, feminine energy, finding your purpose. We have live Q&As. So many people are getting help from it. So take advantage, join. Again, go to receivingmyblessings.com or click the link in the description or in the comments section. So now, the other reason why men move too fast, and let me just, after I mention this one, I have a couple fan-submitted questions to answer about this topic, all right? So we got some more to discuss. But the other reason why he moves too fast is because sex is all he ever wanted, all right? This one is pretty much the one I think everyone expected to be on this list and understands without a doubt, is that some men simply want sex from you, and because that's all they want to get to their goal as quickly as possible. Plain and simple. Like, if a guy just wants sex, the idea of going on several dates before he even tried, it feels like a waste of time to him, all right? Because he's not there for that. He's there for the sex. And so you have to be mindful of that, of how much this man is just prioritizing sex, and making it all about that, and that's all he wants. Now, again, some people will argue, well, sometimes that's all the woman wants. Listen, if that's all you want, that's all he wants, y'all are on the same page, that is your choice as a grown woman to do as you choose. I am not telling you that's what you should do, all right? Or I'm not necessarily encouraging that. I'm saying that is your right to make that choice. But if you understand that you want more than that, and you're recognizing that that's all this man is about, then you got to cut him loose, all right? Of course, I'm always about having discussions and addressing things, but sometimes it's just a matter of you guys want different things and it's not going to work. Okay, so like I said, I have 3 questions that were submitted by my fans and followers on this topic. So I want to answer that real quick. So the first question is, does it mean he isn't serious about me if he tries to have sex too soon? And the answer is no. It doesn't automatically mean that. Again, as I mentioned earlier, a guy could really be into you, could really see you as potential future, okay? And yet he still has a desire for sex. Right or wrong, hell, and believer or non-believer, it makes no difference. A lot of men, that's going to be something that they desire. I'm not saying give in to that desire, but I am saying that his attempt isn't a clear sign that that's all he wants. What will give you a clearer sign if he's serious about you or not is if you decline, you make it clear that you want to wait, and he's unwilling to accept being patient and waiting for you. If he is unwilling to wait, if he, lashes out at you, if he tries to pressure you in a way that, is very like he's just disregarding how you feel, then this is a man who just is focused on getting sex from you and isn't serious about you. But the guy who is looking at you as more than that and does see potential in a serious relationship, he'll be at least willing to take a step back and be more patient and be more understanding. Second question is, can a relationship still happen if the sex happens too fast? Yes, but so it is possible. There are examples of situations where people had sex on the first date, again, not encouraging it, but they had sex on the first date and end up getting married. Happily married, all right? It is possible, but it is not the wise approach to take for so many reasons. We won't go too deep into it, but 1, sex can cloud your judgment. 2, it can become a huge distraction, which again contributes to clouding your judgment. Unhealthy attachments can be formed. Hell, unwanted pregnancies can come about, all kinds of other issues. It's best for you to give yourself time. Listen, if I would argue if 2 people have a connection to where they could have sex on the first date and end up married, then not having sex on the first date isn't going to derail that. not waiting a little bit longer isn't going to derail that. Because if it's real, if it's genuine, it can be, you'll be fine even with sex being taken off the table. So you don't have to have it. Don't think that's the smart way to go about it, so to speak. But in regards to the specific question of can it still happen, a relationship, if the sex has happened that fast, it is still possible. Third question, and let me just add, I have a bonus that came to me while I was answering these questions that I'm going to give you after this third question, all right? But the third question is, should I tell him I'm not willing to have sex should I tell him on the first date that I'm trying to wait to have sex? And the answer is yes and no. And so what I mean by that is this. As I mentioned earlier, I don't think you need to proactively announce that you're not going to have sex. Because, like, consider if I'm a man who's dating you and I wasn't even trying to, my focus wasn't sex. Like, I was generally trying to get to know you and I have no problem waiting. You just coming out of nowhere like, well, just so you know, we're not having this. It's like, well, damn, all that? Slow down. I wasn't even on that. It can be off-putting. So there's no reason to like push that if it wasn't in the natural flow of conversation, which brings me to the yes. If in that first date, there is a natural flow of conversation that brings up sex, nothing wrong with saying, well, listen, just so you know, I believe in waiting and things like that. You know, if, as I mentioned earlier, the sexual attraction is so strong and you guys are seeing that. And typically, if it's that strong, sexual things will start to come up or be said. And again, that can be your cue to now say, I'm trying to wait, or what your views are on having sex. But outside of that, you don't need to force the announcement or the conversation about you wanting to wait to have sex. And now my bonus that came to me. So here's another reason why men try to have sex so damn fast. Because they want to test drive the car before they buy it. All right, now listen, let me make this very clear. I don't believe in the test drive mentality, okay? One, I always say, when I was going on tour, I was like, listen, when you test drive something, you drive it once, and then you determine if you want it or not. Y'all jokers ain't test driving, you're joyriding, okay? Because you just driving the car all over the place for years and years, and then want to decide if you want to keep it or not. You can't do that. That's not the way it works. So to me, it's not even a legitimate test drive. But the mentality stems from the idea of, and many women have this same mentality. I need to know what the hell I'm getting myself into sexually before I'm willing to commit to someone. For some people, it's commit on a romantic relationship, boyfriend-girlfriend level. For some people, it's commit on a marriage level. Wherever they draw that line, they want to know what they're getting themselves into. Now, the reason, and I'm going to make this clear, or I want to help give a different perspective, is that I don't believe in the test driving mentality simply because I believe that connection is the core main ingredient to a successful sexual relationship. When I say sexual relationship, a successful relationship with a healthy sex life, okay? If the connection is there, I believe it can all work itself out. I believe we can learn each other's bodies. We can learn how to please each other. At the core of it, by having a connection, we have the ingredient of wanting to pleasure each other, which to me is, again, great sex is two people who are into satisfying each other, all right? And not being selfish about their desires, but pouring into each other. That creates amazing sex. What you have in a lot of situations, maybe not initially, but eventually, is it becomes one-sided, all right? And one or even both parties aren't really being satisfied in the experience, and that throws everything off. But I would argue those people don't have connection. So to me, you don't really need the test drive, you need the connection for it to be there. You need the attraction to be there. Those that if you have the main ingredients, I believe everything else can work out. Now I can hear some of y'all saying, but what if he's too small? I'm sorry. I have to laugh. And I'm not laughing to be disrespectful to any man who is small, because I do think that's a fair argument to a certain extent for women. But if it's really about his size, well, ask him to whip it out real quick, take a look, see if it meets your standards. All right, zip it back up and keep it moving. Like, I mean, you don't have to have the sex to figure it out, all right? I understand the temptation to want full verifiable proof, all right, through actual action. But again, it's not really necessary. But the original point is, this is another reason why men will move too fast. But again, I think that ultimately, as a woman, you have to decide what you want, what you're okay with, establish healthy boundaries, have open and honest conversation. And I feel this one thing I have to say, don't internalize men's attempts to have sex with you. And what I mean by that is, I see a lot of women who start to feel like, well, that's all I'm good for. Or, you know, I have no value past that. No, you do, but you have to understand that not every man is built to see your value. And therefore, they may only be locked in to what you provide sexually, because they don't have their role. It's not their role in your life to be the man who embraces you for who you are. And because it's not their role, that means they don't belong in your life at all. So remove what isn't for you and always be ready and prepared to receive what is. Hey, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to check this one out right here, and I'll see you there. All right, so there's this quote I want to read to you real quick. And it says, I love this quote: compatibility is overrated. What's required is unity. Unity doesn't mean you're the same, it means you're together.